What's going on, Chazz? How you feeling tonight?
Good. Yourself? How you doing?
Oh, I'm ready to roll. I'm ready to get down, man. We got a lot of things to discuss. In fact, we're gonna pick it up from where we left off at, and we're gonna
Okay.
be talking about forever young. We'll talk about reasons why people are terrified of getting older. And before we start getting into this, I want to say this broadcast can be seen every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, 7 o'clock Eastern. But let's jump back into this subject, Chaz, and talk about before we put anything on the board. What why are we like that as a people? As far as we're afraid of the inevitable. What does that mean to you?
I think we're afraid because number one, I've said this before and I'll say it again: the brainwashing from the media. They make it seem like it's a sin and it's a shame to get old, and they also feel like if we're not young and feeling hip and hype forever, it's like something is wrong with us. And like you mentioned, it's going to happen. So it's something that's inevitable, and we have to get used to it and grow with it.
Yeah, and I think we don't do a good job as a people when it comes to just relaxing and letting everyone know that this is bound to happen. Okay, it's
Right.
not something that you should be terrified of. You should be welcoming that you've lived a life and
Right.
we've lived our lives and we're older now. We should be excited about our departure, but a lot of us are shaking in our boots, and
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 I,
it
and I
doesn't
got
make any sense. Guys. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I got some more points I want to hit on later. While like you just mentioned, where people know that you're going to die, but the people who get mad at God and stuff like if they have a sick uncle or a sick grandmother or a sick brother, and even if the guy or grandmother or aunt gets healthy, even eventually they're gonna get sick or they're gonna die. The point is to get mad at God and all this stuff. So that's another point I'm going to hit on. But like we say on the screen, reasons why people are terrified of getting older, like I just mentioned. We're afraid of losing our looks. We're afraid of not being able to get in a car and go and do the things we usually do. And we're just afraid of not being this spunk guy that's hype at the party. That's the main reasons I could come up with why we're afraid of getting older.
Yeah, so let's get into it then. Here are some of the reasons why people are terrified of getting older, and we're going to debunk each reason. So, all of you who are watching this, just relax. We'll tell you how we are, and then we'll talk about how fallacious, how untrue that these mindsets are. Here we go.
Number one, mental and emotional distress. Some older people can't seem to shake that they are not the person they used to be. And that's true. When you were 19 compared to 58 or 60, there's no way you're the same person. You're going to look a little bit different. You're not going to have the same energy. You're not going to be able to, run up and down stairs or run on a treadmill. That's just life. And some people seem to can't fathom or grab that. So that's why they're depressed. They're anxious. They're sometimes not wanting to get out. And here's the thing. I'm not coming down on people. I'm just saying that that's a part of life where when you're 19 compared to 60 or 45 or 19 to 30, things are going to change and you're not going to be able to do the things you used to do. So you got to improvise and be happy with things that you do have.
You said it well, because a lot of us are just our minds. That's where the problem is. It lies in our minds, because when you get older, things happen, and that's to be expected. Number one, we have a receding hairline. A lot of us men do.
Yeah.
We're slower at things
Yeah.
that we used to be fast at. And I
Yeah.
mean, we can go on and on. Our eyesight gets dimmer. So
Yeah.
it's like we know these things, but yet we allow this to be a stress on us. Now, here's a word that we were talking about before we came on, and this word here is pronounced geroscophobic. And what does that mean, geroscophobic, Chaz?
Someone who has an intense fear of aging, which it can include fears of being alone, dependent, forgotten in old age. Now,
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing. As you get older, you shouldn't fear. You're going to get older. You have to, I would say, brace for it, brace for impact. Now, you shouldn't be forgotten because you still should be able to get on the telephone, call the relative, call a friend, get out if you can, or have some, if you have the money to, some those vans that come in the neighborhood. They pick you up, they take you to these little senior places. There's things you can do. So if you are, and here's the thing, and I'll pass it. Some people say that they're forgotten because they're not the person that they used to be. They're not remembered as how hyped that they used to be, and that's why they feel like they're forgotten. But there's always wiggle room and ways how to get around that.
Yeah, we're going to debunk this now. Then we're going to invite our guests in. But let's debunk this now.
It's natural to change over time. Change is a sign of a lived life, not a reason to fear. The idea that someone must remain the same forever is unrealistic. And that's 100% true. In that last part, I want to touch on. They make it seem, and I said this before, they make it seem like some of these people, and I hate using her name, like J-Lo, she has all this money, she has all these supplements she could take. And that's the standard for most people, where they feel like you shouldn't crack, you shouldn't age at all. But you're going to. And this is a terrible idea for people to think that they're going to be able to be young forever and to be up and be spunk and hype and all that. That's just not natural.
It's really not. But as we can see on the screen, here's a gentleman that looks like he's maybe middle age or, getting up in age. But, he's smelling the air. He's making himself happy. And we need to have more days like this, because based upon what I'm looking at, I'm just going to interpret that inside he's happy with himself, Chazz. And one of our biggest problems, and I have to say this, is we want other things and people to make us happy.
Right.
We don't know how to make ourselves happy, see? Yeah. And this is why many of us are lonely. This is why we get depressed. This is why we're stressed, because we don't know how to make ourselves happy. We want everybody to make us happy. We look for other people to do things to make us happy. But if happiness doesn't come from within, you're never going to be happy. But like this gentleman is doing, he's in bliss, if you ask me. We need to have more days where we just wake up and do that. And someone says, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "Nothing's wrong with me. I'm just enjoying that I'm changing over time. I've had a great life. I'm not afraid." And it's unrealistic, as this note says here. So let's welcome some of our people in today, Chazz.
Sister Marie fires in here. She says, "Hotel brothers, we appreciate her for coming in." Hey, Nuji's in the building. She fires behind her and says, "Peace and blessings, fam. We appreciate her." Sister Barbara fires in here. She says, "Hello, Kings," with emoji. We appreciate her. And Nuji fires back in here. She says, "The church with the fear of God in people."
Well, yeah. She's right. I can't let that go, because I want to jump on that bandwagon, because okay. the church really, it does, man. When they talk about living and God doing all these things for them, that's fine, but they're afraid to die, you see, because you mentioned many broadcasts ago that many people want to die because they're not ready to face what they have always said. So they're afraid, and she's right. They put the fear of a so-called God in people, and I think that has to be said, and we may have to do a broadcast on there, because you should, if you really look at it the right way, you shouldn't have the fear of God in you, but because all of the things that has been said in light, it makes us afraid and terrified and shaking in our boots, as I often say.
And I'll touch on that real quick before I get to Sister Barbara's comment. And because of the heaven and hell stuff, a lot of people feel like those places are real. They feel like if they don't live up to the standard, that's where they're going, and that's what puts a lot of stress on people. But nobody knows. We'll have to see. Sister Barbara fires in here. She says, "The older we get, the closer we come to the time of checking out of here." That's true. You see it all over the news. I've seen. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. I want you to say what you got to say. I'm gonna say it after you.
Oh no, I was just saying. I seen on the news all kind of people every other day. There was a 55-year-old lady. She was a famous cook or something. She passed away. There was a 19-year-old athlete. Like Sister Barbara said, these people are checking out of here, and a lot of people are starting to get afraid because death is knocking at everybody's door. So you have to prepare yourself for these situations.
Yeah, and I used to always say, when people get older, we get meaner. And I wonder why. It's like we should be happier when we get older. We shouldn't be meaner, but most of the older people, a lot of them are they're mean as a rattlesnake. And I wondered why, but you guys are hitting it on the head. They know that time is winding up. They have not lived their lives according to all they said. So they're mean and they're bitter because they're not ready to go. But as the old saying says, and the old game says, ready or not, here I come. So you sent me a video, Chazz, and I want you to tell me, why did you send me this video that I'm going to show, and what was that video all about?
Oh, it's about some elders who basically felt like that they should be getting out and exercise, and it boiled down to back to COVID in 2020. They were locked up in their homes, not really doing much, so they felt like that kind of made them depressed and sad. So they felt now that they should get out the house and exercise for about 10 minutes, do some kind of cardio, because like we said, this ties along to this broadcast to where we should, even though we're older, we can still get out and walk for 10 to 20 minutes, do something instead of sitting back, eating, and not doing nothing. I was just inspired by these elders that they were still able to get up and move.
Well, let's see if we can dial that up. I was trying to see if I can get it up. For some reason, it's not showing, but let me try it again. Let's share the screen and let's see what happens here.
Okay.
Okay, so that's not it, but I'll keep working on it because we're having like what they call technical difficulties. But yeah, we'll work on it, Chazz, because I think it's important that we have to do things as we age. We have to do things ourselves. We can't expect life to treat us the same way it did when we were younger. So once again, we definitely want people to know that there are reasons that people are afraid, and the reasons are not really, they're not really valid. And here's another reason why people are afraid of getting older. We just talked a little bit about it.
Oh boy, number 2, death. As a person ages, they see death as a step closer, which causes anxiety or fear. And they do. And like we talked about earlier, brother, and I hate to say this, but we all have had a relative, friend, cousin, or employee that we work with, and they were sick and bedridden. And I hear this a lot, where they were sick and they get mad, like we just said, they get mad at God. Why did God take my employee? Why did God take my auntie? Why did he do that? They're going to, even if they were to get healthy and beat the sickness, eventually they were going to die anyway. So I don't get the people who blame God and all this stuff, because it's going to happen. And here's the thing. You should be at peace with it. You shouldn't even want to live on this earth for 300 or 400 or 500 years. All this chaos is going on, all this drama, all this stress. You should want to check out, but I guess some people feel like they want to be immortal, and that's the wrong mindset to have.
Well, boy, you on fire tonight, so I'm gonna let you keep talking, Chazz. Keep going.
Number 2, debunk. Aging does bring greater awareness of mortality, but the fear of death should lessen with age, not increase. We all know that physical death is inevitable, and that's true. You should, as you get older, you should have less stress about this. You should be coming up grips and say, you know what? I'm getting up in age. I can't do the things I used to do. I'm slowing down a little bit, but I'm still trying to maneuver and be thankful for the things I do have, because I know my time is winding down. I can't do this thing forever, and I'm going to check out. So I need to come with peace with it, because if you keep stressing yourself out, you're going to speed the process up that much worse, because stress will kill you out quicker. So you have to come to grips with this.
That's true, Chazz. And if we do what we're about to see, maybe that'll help us out, because a lot of us don't want to do this, but that's what's going to help us, and we can get this going here, hopefully.
Okay.
Is the perfect time of year to go for a walk. The weather is great, and our city's backdrop is unparalleled.
Yeah, and don't take our word for it. I joined a group of women who know better than anyone.
It happens here, Charlestown. The Bunker Hill Monument stands tall over the old neighborhood. Heck, by the time the battle was fought in 1775, Charlestown had been around for almost 150 years. In the 1960s, Charlestown almost suffered the same fate as the West End, but plans to demolish and redevelop 60% of it were successfully fought off, preserving most of its close-knit streets and beautiful architecture. In short, Charlestown is a perfect place to go for a walk.
It's a lively bunch.
They are a very lively bunch. Yeah, don't let the age fool you.
Every Wednesday at 10 a.m. sharp, these ladies, all over the age of 55 and 50 strong in number, meet at the BPD District 15 station for their weekly Walk the Beat program.
We have a great group of girls. However long we've been together, even the new ones when they come. Everybody fits in.
It was conceived and launched during the COVID pandemic.
Coming out of COVID, we wanted to come up with an idea to get seniors out in a safe environment.
A lot of them were alone in their houses, and they were isolated.
It has been an overwhelming success on multiple fronts, from improved health
It's been fabulous. The best thing I ever did for myself.
Really?
Yes. Because I was one that would stick in the house and not move.
To battling loneliness. It seems like this is a very chatty group.
Oh my God, yes. We are.
It gets me out because all my friends have passed, and gets me with the new group. And
But Barbara, it looks like you got some friends here.
I do. That's where I picked them up.
The group is escorted by Boston police officers who offer company, crosswalk assistance, and more.
Somebody gets sick or can't walk, they get in the police car, and he takes them home.
If I was hungry, would they take
Down to Jenny's and get us something to eat.
And when it's not ideal walking weather, the group still manages to get together.
And we have them doing yoga down at the community center. We have them exercising. We have them doing all sorts of programs.
Best part, it's free and open to anyone who wants to join. I'm going to have to wear my shirt and come back.
Exactly, yes, and join us.
Walk, dummy!
And that's what this thing should always be about for all the elders that are able to walk. If you're not confined to a wheelchair, if you're not in the hospital, you can get up like these sisters just walking around for 10 to 20 minutes, get you some vitamin D. And it doesn't have to always be for these long strenuous workouts. Like I said, 10 to 20 minutes or at least 30 should get you to good to go. And that's a good accomplishment that they were bored with COVID. And now they're getting out and they're doing something because they don't want to be depressed and lonely like a lot of the ladies were saying that they were.
Yeah, Chazz, they this is what I don't understand. We complain as a people a lot about getting old, but we do nothing about it. Many of us won't walk a block. Many of us won't try to do anything to prolong life. But see, what's the dichotomy is this. The contrast is we complain about dying because we're afraid to, but when we're alive, we don't do anything to prolong life. Right. We don't exercise when we get older. We don't eat healthy. We do all the things that take life. So here you have some people who are just really screwed up mentally, and that's where it boils down to. Now, we have a comment, and I think this is important as well.
Sister Barbara fires in here. She says, some love their possessions so much that they become afraid of parting ways with these things because they know that we can't take them with us. Facts. And that's 100% true. All this stuff that we're working for, all this stuff that we're stacking up, you're going to leave this stuff behind. If you have children or if you have a wife or girlfriend or whatever, it's going to go to somebody else. So you can't you can't collect and take this stuff with you. And like the sister said, we don't want to let this stuff go. If it was possible, we would try to take this stuff with us. That's how attached we are. But this sister is spot on that we're just too attached, excuse me, for these possessions. And number 3, loss of independence. Aging may lead to reliance on others for daily tasks, which can feel disempowering. Yeah, and it does when you can't get up and go to CVS and get your pills, or you can't go to Walgreens to get certain items. I get that, but you still shouldn't let that make you feel depressed to the point to where you're sad. I mean, that's life. If you have someone around you that can do those things for you, you should be thankful, but it shouldn't be to the point to where you're depressed and not want to go outside or anything like that because you can't move the way you used to. Number 3, yes, we may have to rely on others at times, but there are some things that we can do for ourselves. I'll let you take that one as I take a swig real quick.
Yeah, because I think many of us, we get to this victim mentality. This is all we want to do is sit back and complain. But as we see the sister up here, she took up something that's basic. It's called knitting. You know, she's doing something. She's thinking up something to do. You know, she's doing something that she likes. But a lot of us as older people, we just complain until we die. That's why the grandkids, when they get up in age, when they remember us, they say, I remember my grandfather or grandmother or my great whoever. And they say when they were older, all they did was complain. They fuss at the kids. They cuss the kids out. They don't have a life. And so instead of thinking of something to do like this lady here, you mean to tell me, Chazz, that there's nothing that you could think of or that I could think of or that others could think of as we age that's going to help us?
I can think of 2 off the bat quickly. Crossword puzzles, playing cards, playing bingo. Now, I know a lot of people may laugh and say that these things are cheesy or corny. Reading, Well, these are all things that we can do because I'm pretty sure we all have our hands, we all have our fingers. You can pick up a book, you can pick up some cards, you can pick up a crossword puzzle and do these things instead of, like we said, just sitting around and moping and complaining.
Yeah, here's one that I know I want to get to, and I'm going to let you take a shot at it too, but I got to deal with this one.
Number 4, appearance changes. Wrinkles, gray hair, and changes in body shape can impact self-esteem and confidence. Go for it, brother.
Okay. Now, Chazz, I talked about this, and I want to talk about it again today. Many of us, we know that we're going to change when it comes to our appearance. We might have had a six-pack when we were younger, and now we got a big pack. We might say those things that black don't crack, but as I often say, black don't crack, but black sure gets fat. I mean, we can go on and on, Chazz, because we have some people in our environment that have so many psychological issues that they don't like who they are. And so they see these wrinkles, and that again reminds them that the game is almost over. And instead of being excited about this thing, they want to go and buy this dye. Now, Chazz, you know, and I know many of us in our 70s, 80s, and 90s, you know our hair is not that black.
Right.
You know we don't look like that. But instead of going to the gym and working out or walking and drinking water, doing things that's going to help us, we don't like what we see, but we do nothing about it. But the point of I'm trying to make is we're all going to age. That's a part of life. Stop telling these older people that they're not worthy because they're aging. Stop teasing them because of wrinkles. Stop making fun of them, comedians, because we all have to face this route, and it should be something that we should be welcoming instead of shrinking from.
Agree 1,000%. And like I said, as we get older, things are going to change. Even though, like, some of us, like I said, may have health effects and things start to change as we get older, but that's life. But you shouldn't let that define you. And once again, I said this earlier and I'll say it one last time. Stop letting what certain people, for example, of Steve Harvey and J-Lo, they're going to have money to, well, I'm just using them for example because they have the money to keep themselves up to make it seem like they're never going to age. But we can't. The average person can't. So therefore, be thankful and happy with you are and do the best with what you have before you pass away. Number 4.
You better quit talking about Steve Harvey. You're going to lose a lot of friends now.
Oh, no, I just used him. That was the first person that popped in my head. And J-Lo, those are the main two.
Okay.
Embrace your evolving look as a reflection of a well-lived life. Inner strength outweighs concerns about looks. Yes, as you get older, you should have a what you call a passion about yourself and not be concerned about how you look. Now, I'm not telling you to get out the bed and look like a homeless person. No. But you should get up out the bed and not be concerned with what people think. So what if they think you're ugly? So what if they think you're not good looking? As long as you're content with yourself, you should be happy with that. And once again, stop living for others, and you'll cause less stress on yourself.
That's beautifully said, Chazz. And I want to add to that last part of this second sentence that says inner strength outweighs concerns about looks. When you don't have inner strength, when you hate yourself, when you hate your family, when you hate your people, when you hate your weight, when you hate your skin tone, when you hate everything about yourself, it's difficult to do what we're saying. And many of us adults, as old as Methuselah, and we hate the very fact that we are who we are. So we look in the mirror and we don't like what we see. So we have to go buy things like clothes, makeup, and hair, nails. No, we got to go buy these things, hats. We got to buy these things because in our hearts, we want to look different, man.
Yeah.
We can't accept the fact that we are who we are, and the inner strength that should be in us, although we lie every week saying that we're strong internally, we're weak internally. So it does matter what people say and think about us. But like you said, we have to embrace our look, because that's a reflection of a well-lived life, just like these two sisters here. This one sister to the right, she may not be slim as a toothpick, but she's doing something that makes her life extend. You see,
exactly.
Look at the other one to the left. She looks like her age she's out there, but That gray looks good on her. That white looks good on her. And she doesn't care what you or I or anyone else says. We have some people whose brains are deteriorating now because we won't do this, Chazz. We have some people who play games their whole life, and instead of embracing life like these sisters are, we sit around, and as you mentioned earlier, and we hope things are going to change. Looking in the mirror and not doing anything about it, it's not going to change. And no matter how you look, you've got to accept the fact that we're going to age, man, and that should be a beautiful thing as opposed of something that's terrible or something that we are afraid to accept.
And I can't stress this enough. If for all the people that are listening, you should always exercise. You should be doing some kind of bicycling, treadmill, walking in the park, all kind of stuff, swimming. And for the people who have had surgeries, I found this out at the gym that people who have surgeries swim. Not that you got to go 6 feet deep under the water, but you got classes where you can stay afloat in the water, and that helps with cardio too for the people who have ailments and stuff. So swimming is a light cardio thing you could do. Sister Sharon Anderson fires in here. She says, peace. We appreciate her. Well, brother, I can't. And even like those elders that we saw in the video, they were exercising. And that's the key. Exercising is going to, if you are afraid of death, which you shouldn't be, you should be exercising like it's no tomorrow, because that's going to prolong this thing. Okay, I'll finish. I'm done.
The
Number
next
5.
one says, go ahead, Cass. Go ahead with that one.
Loss of purpose. As people age, they struggle with direction of life. Yeah, they do. Excuse me. They get upset. They get sad because they don't know what to do. They thought that they had a purpose. They may have went to college. They may have tried to get a trade or a certain degree. That didn't work out. And when these things backfire, they're stuck. They're saying, well, what do I do? Nothing is working. Everything I try is not it's not going for me. And now some people get into depression. They start taking supplements and pills and all this kind of nonsense. And then before you know it, they kill over. So you have to find some kind of purpose to keep yourself busy, to keep yourself motivated, and to keep yourself going.
This is a very important subject, Chazz. This is crucial. And since you're on the road tonight, I'm going to let you keep rolling because this is serious. See, the African-American man and woman, we want to talk about everything other than what we're supposed to talk about. We want to talk about science. We want to talk about religion. We want to talk about culture. We want to talk about heritage. And we should talk about those things. But also put something with that about health, about taking care of ourselves. See, we don't want to do this, Chazz. We want to evade the issue. And this is why we are the way we are. But since, like I said, you're on the road, Chazz, debunk what we just said.
Older adults should know their purpose since they lived all those years by now. You would think that they do.
Yeah, think about it, Chazz. We've been on this earth for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years, and we still have no purpose. We still don't know our purpose. We still don't expect us as an older adult to go off, as they say, ride off into the sunset. We still are confused. We're still looking for things. We know the time is running out, so now we're nervous and we're stressed out. We're angry. We're bitter. We're latching on to everything we can, holding on as if we're going to take whatever we're holding on with us. We have some serious problems, and I'm telling you, Chazz, until we get serious about the elderly, until we get serious about aging, until we have the right mindset about this, we're going to continuously be like that dog, the proverbial dog that's trying to chase his tail, but he never catches his tail. And we are the problem because we don't look at aging as something beautiful. We say, child, did you see so-and-so? Child, they look bad. Well, they 75 or 80 years old. What do you think? I mean, wow, I saw somebody the other day, and they 90, man, and man, they got one foot in the grave and one. But what do you expect, man? You see, this is how messed up our mindset is. And I fought us, many of us, and I fought us adults because we don't know how to have the proper conversation about this.
And I'm not going to say her name anymore because I know they keep saying, why does he keep going back to J-Lo? I keep going back to J-Lo because they think that that's the perfection. They think that if you're not young like her until your 60s or 70s, you're doing something wrong. And here's the bad part. All the food that we're ingesting, some of the technology, this radiation, all these things play a part with our aging quickly. They're saying now that we're aging more quickly now than when we did back in like the early 2000s, 2002, 2003, because of all this technology and stuff. So you can't get rid of it. You can do the best you can. And like you said, we shouldn't be making fun of people who are aging. It's just terrible, sick society. Number 6, financial insecurity. Worries about not having enough money for medical care, housing, or living expenses. This is true. That's why a lot of these people on the news, where they keep constantly kicking the retirement up. One day they say you can retire at 60. Then they push it back to 65. Then they push it back to 70. So these people are saying, I can't ever get out of this rat race because I have to work until I'm 80. So it's just a constant cycle of not having enough money to, for your house, for medical, if you get sick or hurt. It's just so much that goes along with it. And it's a terrible thing to go through. And then it also says aging doesn't automatically mean financial struggle. Preparedness and support can lead to stability and a peace of mind. For example, if you have a job, you have a 401k, hopefully the job and thing goes well. You put money while you're 30 or 35 or 40. And then that way, when you retire, you let all that money build up and you take it out and you do what you can with it. But if you don't prepare, like we said, you just, freestyling and not preparing at all, then something bad is going to happen. So it is a part of preparing for the future, I would say.
Rah, 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 Chazz. What a great speech. What a great lecture. That was great. But let's be honest, we don't prepare because we blow our money. Every penny we get, we buying clothes, we buying drinks, we buying dope, we buying cigarettes, we're buying houses, we're buying cars, we're trying to buy people, we're trying to buy friends, we're trying to buy our way through this world. And we know that when we get older, we're going to need more financial support because our children are not going to help us. Many of them are not. To those who are, I applaud them who help their parents and grandparents. But what I'm saying is, since we know that we're going to age, since we know it's going to be tough, you would think that a wise man or a wise woman will put something back for a rainy day. But nope, we spend all of ours, whether it's sunny or whether it's raining or whether it's snowing, whether it's sleeting, no matter what the weather is, because we don't know how to manage our lives. And a lot of us don't want to listen to these kinds of lectures because these lectures put us face to face with reality. It teaches us that we're going to get old, and it teaches us that, like this brother is doing, he's looking at something, he's preparing for something, she's preparing for something, but we don't do that. Every swinging penny we get, we know we need it because it's tough for the black man and the black woman, but every penny we get is not spent. A lot of us spend money on, like we mentioned earlier, on dye. We spend money on gadgets. We spend money on food, Chazz. We don't want to talk about that. We spend a lot of money on food and we don't have to. We like to go out to eat and get the biggest burger that we can see. I will stop because, Chazz, I don't want to rain on your parade because it's true, man, that financial insecurity is something that many of us worry about because we didn't do a good enough job when we were younger, and now we have to face the music.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Number 7, feeling useless or forgotten, feeling overlooked, leading to fear of becoming irrelevant. Yeah, we do feel like that, especially, like I said, when we can't do the things that we used to do, we do start to feel hopeless, forgotten. We feel like nobody really looks at us the same. We feel useless, and that's what kind of leads us, and I'm not promoting this, that's what leads a lot of us in the uptick in drugs, alcohol use, prescription pill use, doing things that you shouldn't because you're looking for some kind of hope. And when you get older, you're going to feel overlooked. But that's life, meaning you're not going to always be the life of the party. You should be able to settle down when you get in your 40s and 50s and say, you know what? I've done that. This is enough for me. Let me try to slow my life down a little bit.
Yeah, because we want to be the life of the party still, see? And another thing is this. In my family, I won't mention any names because it's just not going to be fair for me to do this, but there are people in my family that every time you look around, they're saying, like Sleb Rock, woe is me, lousy, lousy, woo. Everything is bad. Nobody likes me. Nobody can get up with me. I can't get along with the dog. I can't get along with the cat. Everybody's against me. The white man is against me. The black man is against me. My mama's against me. My daddy's against me. And they feel useless because that ideology they bought into, which that's not really the case, because they don't even love themselves enough to know that You should make your own self feel useful as opposed to useless.
Number 7, this uselessness is the attitude that society gives. Older adults should hold valuable wisdom, experience, and contributions to family, community, and society. I'll let you take that one, then I'll piggyback off of it.
Yeah, I just said society tells us that we're useless. That's what society says. You're no good anymore. You're over the age of 45, so you might as well. What they say, you're over the hill now. They say these kinds of things, and we brought into that. We really do. And so now we feel like I'm 47 years old and I can't do anything but sit around and drink beer, eat potato chips on the couch, eating sandwiches. So we buy into that. And this is what has destroyed us. And the problem is many of us don't want to have these kind of discussions. We want everybody to think we're intellectual. We want to talk about the sun and the moon and the solar system. We want to talk about, geometry, geology. All that's fine, Chazz. But when are we going to start talking about how do we add life as opposed to how do we take away life? And then how do we accept the fact that we're aging and that's how we are?
Yeah, and as these sisters here on the screen, they look like they're having some kind of exercise. They're having fun. They're smiling. Both of these sisters, they look, like they're having a good time and they're not frustrated and angry. And here's the thing. When you do exercise, you should have a positive attitude. You shouldn't be frowned up. You shouldn't be bitter. You should be angry, because when you do that, it makes the experience worse. But yeah, these sisters are having a good time exercising. So shout out to these two women on the screen. Number 8, declining health. Some people worry about developing illnesses, losing mobility, or facing chronic pain. Yeah, and I hate that. And sometimes this crosses my mind, and I'm not afraid to say this. When I get older, I always hope in that I never have to have any kind of surgeries, because they cramp you, they slow you down, they wear you down. You can't get up and move like you used to. And a lot of people are afraid of developing some kind of, sicknesses. All this crap on the news that's going around, people are catching all these new variants of diseases. All these things we're afraid of. Chronic pain, you can't move without things popping and snapping. So it's just a terrible thing, a spot to be in. But hopefully we can do the best that we can with our health. Drink water, exercise, take our supplements, sauna. All these things will help a little bit, and just hope for the best. Number 8, health issues will arise, but older people should maintain active, healthy lifestyles, focusing on what they can do to help themselves. Like we just showed, those two sisters that are exercising, walking, drinking your water, taking your supplements. These are all things that's going to help. But if you neglect these things, then you are going to have 10 times worse the problem if you're just sitting back not doing anything at all.
And I was like you earlier too, Chazz. When I was a younger man, I used to always say, I don't want no one to operate on me. I hope I never have surgeries, but I'll be transparent. I've had surgeries, but that's not going to stop me. That's not going to make me sit around and just, eat popcorn and potato chips for the rest of my life, drinking soda water, complaining and moaning about my pains and my aches.
Right.
It's the mindset that we have. And a lot of us don't have what we want. We want people to think that we're all that, but we don't have the willpower. And we're trying to say, this is something that we should debunk, because you're going to have health issues when we arise. Things are going to break down. Things are going to shut down. But we should still try to do the best that we can to maintain a healthy lifestyle.
And here's the thing before we move on to this one, something that dawned on me a while ago. Now, I've realized this. We shouldn't be doing things too fast, meaning we know that we can only lift, let's say, 30 pounds. We shouldn't be trying to do 80 or 100. We know our limit, or trying to do things that we know we can't, because if you keep going at that pace or a high rate of speed, you're prone to injury or overdoing it. You have to have a little bit here, a little bit there, but don't overdo it, is basically what I was getting at. Number 9, a technology gap. Older people may feel left behind or overwhelmed by rapid technology changes. They do. They always feel like they're a little bit slower. The technology is where they're always pressing the wrong thing and shutting the whole system down. That's why I would recommend, if they can, to have someone young that they can call on that can help them, so they don't, mess themselves up, because it's technology. They can't keep up with this. And these technology wizards, they know why they're doing this, to phase out the older elders. Number 9, technology is an issue for some older adults, but family assistance should be present. I literally just said, and I didn't even read that. I literally just said that.
Yeah.
Okay. Number
That's
10,
good.
Abandonment. Some people feel that they will be abandoned, so they fear getting old. I'll let you take that one as I take a swig real quick.
Well, you know the old saying, Chazz. You came into this earth by yourself. You're going to leave this earth by yourself. So why are you fretting or afraid or fearful that you will be abandoned? If it's just you by yourself, are you happy with yourself? And the answer is many of us are not happy with ourselves. This is why we feel abandoned, and some of us are abandoned. But even if you are abandoned, even if I am abandoned, do you mean to tell me that that means that we can't keep a sane mind until it's time for us to leave? Why do we have to close the curtains, close the blinds, and start acting like, the world is coming to an end? People, listen, some people in some people in families, they outlive everybody. And so they are going to be the oldest. They aren't going to have family members. They aren't going to have friends that come to help them or to see them through. So you have to have the right mindset. So, it doesn't abandonment. We are going to be abandoned in many cases. But what are we going to do when we're abandoned?
Yeah, and when you say abandoned, there's always a way out. Like I said, there are activities you can do, exercising, going to the movies here and there if you can afford that. There's always things that you can do. Going to the park, that you don't have to feel abandoned, because some people use the word abandoned and they take it and drag it, where they say abandoned where they just can't get up and can't move. But there's always things that you can do. You just have to get on the internet and get yourself active, and you'll find some things that you can do so you don't feel abandoned. Number 10, some communities and support networks exist to help older adults stay connected and cared for. Yeah, like the seniors. They have senior citizens activities where these vans, they come to the neighborhood, they pick them up, they take them to do little things, take them to Walmart, CVS, Target, they shop a little bit. After that, they take them to the movies, they do bingo. There's all kind of things. Now, I'm not sure how much these things cost. I'm pretty sure they're little or nothing, but these are networks and things that you can do for the elderly who are lonely, that can help get them active so they don't feel, this not cared for.
And we have some information too that we're going to pass for those who are older. We're going to look at some of the community and support networks to help people, because like we talk about it, but we always try to show it. And that's true. But one thing about us, and I want to put this up now, even though we have a lot of the stuff going on today that we're talking about with the terrible mindset, for the most part, there are still a lot of people that look like us that have the right mindset. It's just that group, that group of people who have this woe is me attitude because they've been treated bad all their lives. They've been drugged through the mud since they were children. But this here outlook and optimism, this is on point, because if you look at us as a people, look at what these statistics say. How satisfied do you think you'll be with your life in 5 years? Black people, Hispanic, white, and just whole sample. But look, the Black people, we say we're more optimistic. Everyone else is less. They're under us as far as they don't have their hope when they get older. They don't have a good outlook. But no matter what we're going through, with all the racism, with all the sexism and all the bigotry and all that, we still have the right attitude, many of us. So it's like, here's another stat that's going to prove that as well. Optimism level among poor individuals. Now, these are poor people. These are our people that don't have much. They still have a better outlook on life, although they don't have anything. So it's just some of us who sit around and mope and complain and gripe, murmur, bellyache. It's just those of us who have the wrong outlook on aging. So again, we do a really good job when it comes to our outlook. We're always hopeful. We're always optimistic. So look how far out we are than other people when it comes to how we feel. So when we talk like this, we're talking about those who just complain all the time, those who gripe, those who murmur, those who don't see that aging is not a bad thing, Chazz. Yeah. Aging is a beautiful thing.
Brother Ray fires in here. He says, Black love and respect power. We appreciate you, Brother Ray, for firing in here. And we should have hope. Like you said, if you strip away a man or a woman's hope, and especially if they're young, 15, 16, 17, they're African-American, you ask them for trouble because they have nothing to lose. They feel like they have nothing to work or live for. So they're, going into crime and getting into some bad habits. So Yeah, we should. And those are inspiring. Looking at those charts, seeing how us African Americans are hopeful for the future of something shifting in our favor and getting things going.
Yeah, so let's look at something we said, Chazz. We said we're going to give out some information on some of the senior community and support networks because we like to give out information on this broadcast because a lot of people just run their mouths and don't say anything that's necessary to help people, especially when we're trying to encourage. But you could take this and just kind of talk about some of these, but just here they are right here.
Senior centers. They offer social activities, classes, and group outings.
Yeah, Chaz, and I want to stop. I want to stop at some of these as we talking because you, in other words, you got to get out, Chaz. You can't sit around and just complain all the time. You got to get your behind off that couch, off that chair, and you have to go places, man. You have to meet people. I don't care if you do want to play bingo or play cards or sit around and talk about the old times. You've got to get out and do something. I remember back in the day when I was growing up, my elders, they would sit around under trees, play dominoes and talk. They would do other things as well, but they got together though, you know. They might drink a little brewski here or there, but they got together, man. We don't want to do anything, Chad. We living in the belly of the beast, and I'm telling you now, until we start doing some of these community support networks, they're out there. Okay, you can keep going on this now.
Meals on Wheels. They deliver meals and provide friendly visits. Absolutely. Our elders, I'm pretty sure some of them may not have the funds to be able to eat out at these fancy 5-star restaurants every other day. But the Meals on Wheels is a fantastic thing where they're providing these people meals to keep them full and not to have them starving and just hungry 24/7. Faith-based groups. Churches and religious organizations offer outreach and social programs. Absolutely. These people,
you know, I got to say something about that. You know, I had to cut you off on that because I always, people mistake my intensity for hostility when it comes to faith-based groups. But I'm going to put a plug in for those religious organizations because normally I'm always saying something that's not too kosher. But to all those who have a belief system, that's a beautiful thing that they're doing. Some churches, man, and religious organizations, this is what they live for. They make sure that their singles are taken care of. They have outreach programs. They have social programs. And I think we have to applaud them. You know, I'm always putting them down on doctrine, but why can't I say something positive when I know in my heart that that's something good that these churches are doing, these religious organizations are doing? You know, they run these programs. Nobody else is going to do it. So I take my hat off to them and I let them know that, hey, that's beautiful when they do that because they still care for people.
I want to tag on with that. Now, for the people who do believe in these churches, which is nothing wrong with that, here's the thing. Some people have, like we talked about previously, brother, about some people feel like they don't have purpose. Well, if you believe in the Bible, that is your purpose, is to spread the gospel. So that goes hand in hand. So for the people who are believers and say that they're depressed, they're sad, they don't know what to do, that's hand in hand with your purpose. You're supposed to spread the gospel. That's what the Bible says. Sister Barbara Fires in here. She says, I registered myself at a senior center for outings and activities. Wow. I thought to myself, I'm aging, but no worries. Glad to still be able to move around. That's good. She registered herself. She looks on that calendar, see what's going on. Some of the activities she can attend, some of them she can't. She's noticing she's getting older, but she's not letting that define her and make her so depressed to where she doesn't want to get out and move. So shout out to her for actually putting it into practice and actually doing something about it, and hopefully she doesn't get depressed about any of this. Brother Ray Fires in here behind her. He says, why do most of the rich enjoy being wicked in their sick pastime?
And brother, we answered that. We answered that already. And we answered that a long time ago. We'll say it again for Brother Ray. Because when some people know that the game is over or it's getting near, when they know that their time on this earth is pretty much winding down, they are evil. They're wicked. They don't want to leave. Now, this is not the one fit all answer, but this is a large part of it. As we age, we know that we're going to leave soon, sooner than later. And so we get to thinking about what we didn't do, what we could have done, and who we're going to leave behind. So all that plays its work in our hearts. And so we become bitter. See, now we won't say that. So that's why, and rich people are just like poor people. They know they can't take their money with them. So they're crabs. They're very angry. So yes, go ahead.
I want to jab, not Ray, but I want to jab at the rich, like he mentioned. Yeah, and they are sick. Okay, let's say you sit here, you have these meetings, and you're thinking, I want to poison their water. I want to poison their shampoo. Okay, you get the people sick. They pass away early. Okay, what? I mean, okay, so you kill people, and what? That makes you feel good inside? And I'm not jabbing at Ray. I'm just jabbing at the thought process that these rich people are thinking, where they're doing these things to humans, and it makes them feel accomplished. I mean, that's a terrible way to live, but that was a good comment that Ray said. I want to jab at those rich people who are sitting around doing this foolishness to this food and all this nonsense. Local libraries host events, they help, and they have clubs for seniors. I'll let you, Piggy. You said you want to say something about this one?
Well, I think all of these agencies are really good. I want to comment on Ray's comment. He says the church is within. In your most high self is a temple on each side of your head, that pineal gland. Yeah, we know all that's true, but at the same time, we cannot look at what these faith-based groups are doing, and we cannot say that that's not something good. Now, I know you probably say, I never thought I'd see the day, Jahi, that you defend them, but I'm defending them because in the context of our discussion, we're talking about a lot of people don't want to get old, and we talked about the reasoning for that. Now we're trying to say that the churches, regardless of what you call them, the buildings, the churches, the religious organizations, many of them do a good job at helping older people, and we cannot sit here, and I'm not saying Brother Ray is, but we can't sit here and ignore that. I don't care where the church is. I don't care whether it's in your big toe. When people are doing things good, man, we got to give them credit. You know, if somebody takes my mother, my father, or my auntie, or my uncle, and they take them from sitting around and they're giving them life, they're giving them activities, I would be a fool to talk about them. So, you know, it's that's what it is, man.
Brother Ray fires in here. He says, nah, because I'm not rich and never cared about being rich. I'm good at being self-sufficient. That's good. You don't have to and that's another thing. They say more money brings more problems and all that, but he's content. And that's what it should be about, being content with what you do have, because sometimes being rich isn't always worth it. But as we move on to the agencies on aging, they provide information, they provide resources, and they also provide services for tailored to older adults. And these are things depending on your age, for your mobility, for the things you can and can't do. They provide some good information on how to get involved in some of these things. Volunteering organizations, many encourage seniors to volunteer, fostering social interaction. There's a thing called Walk for Alzheimer's. They do this once a year, and this is a good volunteer. Now, they get water and they get snacks and stuff after the project is done, but it's a good volunteer thing where you see a lot of elders, they're walking to cure Alzheimer's, and then they're also handing out pamphlets and just doing good things for the community to, like you said, have something to do and not have these elders stressing out. Social clubs, hobbies and groups like gardening, book clubs, or classes geared towards seniors. Now, I don't know if they still have this, but when I was a teenager, there was a group. They used to be next to, what was the name of that group? The Boys and Girls Club. That's what it was. These are social groups. They have games for teenagers, help them stay out of trouble. These are all things that teens and older adults can get into to have some kind of hobby to do to keep yourself busy. And last but not least, adult daycare centers provide social engagement and care during the day. I'll let you take that one if you have anything to say about that one.
Well, Ray just put a comment up, and I wanted to say something about his comment. He says, because we were talking about faith-based groups. He says, I am not religious. I don't pray, and I don't need a Bible. God is within me. Okay, all that can be true, Brother Ray. We're not knocking that. I don't consider myself religious, but I'm not going to turn my blind eye to those churches and organizations, whether they're religious or not, that's doing some positive things. Tonight's broadcast is about helping older people come to grips with be yourself as you age. And sometimes other people do things to help us. Whether you're religious or not, I understand what you're saying. I know what you believe, as far as you don't believe in a deity like most of the people do with religion. I understand that. I don't either. But I still have to be able to say, when someone does something good, whether it's a Mormon group, a Christian group, an Islamic group, or a spiritual group, or a group that's not religious, I still have to look at what they're doing to help our people and not talk about what I do. And I understand that, and I appreciate that, because we realize that. But tonight's broadcast, we're just trying to talk about what can we say that's going to help seniors accept the fact that as we age, we must accept that and live in a positive light, because a lot of us, we don't like it, Brother Ray. We don't want to get old. We're afraid of that. So once again, I appreciate your comment about that. We understand that, and that's perfect for you. But everybody's not like me. Everybody's not like you. And those who are helping our people out that are older, all we're saying is I'm just applauding them because they don't have to do it. They don't have to do it. So again, you know, that's all we're dealing with. And again, we're not coming down on you for your comment, because I know you personally, and I know you're pretty heavy into, you know, your spirituality, and that's great. But it's just that we have to understand, when we talk about older people and how we can encourage them, it's not about us. It's about what can people do to help them. So that's all we're saying. And we love you to death, Brother Ray. We do. And I know you're a heavy guy, but we just wanted to, you know, let people know that.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you something personally. This is kind of off the subject. I know we're kind of pressed for time, but last week you told me you were going to take that basketball and you were going to do some shooting basketball. Did you ever get a chance to do that?
Yeah, I did a little bit. I didn't do what I thought I was going to do, but you know, it was okay. And Brother Ray said I was going to need some Bengay, and you know, I didn't need it, but I looked at it, but I didn't need it. But you know, that's all good, man. It's all good, because we have to keep doing things that's going to bring about a change in our lives, man.
Brother Ray fires in here. He says, I understand, but you can't save them from themselves. The fear beyond the dome of Abrahamic religion. He says, respect the elders. And that's true. We have to. Yeah. We have to respect our elders. They paid their way, and sometimes they get gripey and they get snappy, but sometimes you have to ignore it, but don't go back and forth and tit for tat with them. But like he said, we need to respect our elders. And like these sisters here, they're jogging, they're sprinting, they're doing some kind of cardio to stay in shape. They're smiling, and they're having a good time doing that. Look at all these elders. That's what this is all about, man.
So yeah, Chazz, you know, I think this was a very inspiring broadcast. I think we need to do more of these, because it's all about positivity. It's all about helping people. It's all about, as the brother said, it's all about doing this here. It's all about respecting them. And in respecting them, we allow them to do what they do. I don't expect the elders to be like me. Now, I'm an elder, so I don't expect everything to be my way or the highway. But I do recognize when I see something good, if I see a good deed, I don't care if an evil man does a good deed. I can still call out the good deed. Now I can deal with that rascal too, because he's evil, but I gotta be able to. I have to be able to separate this, man. And I think it's important that we as a people, you know, we have to bring broadcasts that's going to bring light to people, not to try to make them be like us and debate with them. It's just the people are going through a lot right now, and a lot of us are afraid, Chazz. As we've been commenting all afternoon. People are afraid as they get older. And I think we just need to settle down and do what we can to help them. Yeah. Encourage them, you know?
Yeah. And I really, really do. I enjoyed this broadcast, especially because a lot of it had to do with exercise and getting up off that bed, getting off that couch, getting off these sofas, and just doing something. That's going to help, like I said, prolong our lives a little bit. Do the best we can. And then also, like we said, not being so fearful of death. I mean, these things are going to happen. You should just say, you know what? Death can happen anytime. It can happen unexpected. And then, or you may have a long life. I mean, who knows? I mean, we don't know how we're going to leave this earth, but we should not be thinking about that 24/7. Do the best you can and let things happen, but don't do anything, you know, drastic. Like I said, like taking, you know, pills and stuff like that to speed up the process. So, we just do the best that we can with what we have.
Yeah, here's a brother right here, man, that's in a wheelchair. And he has a little semi-smile on his face, but that's a beautiful picture. Because we, once again, Chazz, we have to accept the fact that we're going to age. And that's a beautiful thing. There's nothing to be scared of. There's nothing to run to the closet and try to hide, get under the bed. It's called reality, man. It's called life. And oftentimes we don't talk about it in the proper regards. And that's why a lot of time we don't like to, show things like this. Aging is not bad. Health-wise, we can say it is, but even at that, it's not, because you lived the life. You lived your life. So we should be happy when it's time, as they say, to close our eyes, and whatever happens. We should be that way, man. And we definitely, as this brother said, we have to be one. We really do, because right now all the odds are against us, and we need to be there for our people, Chazz, because our people don't get encouragement, especially the older ones. They get teased by comedians. I know I've been on there for the last 2 weeks. They get talked about. The family disassociates with them. Don't ever call them when they get old. And we have to be there to let them know that it's not as bad as everybody makes it, if you make it better, because it all goes internally within you, and you're the one that have to bring joy to your life. You have to make yourself happy in your old age. You have to be the one to pull yourself up by the mindset to let people know, I don't care if I'm in a nursing home, I'm not going to be stressed out because nobody can see me, because my mind is not built up on people. It's built on my own inner happiness. And that's the kind of ideas that we have to have, man. So once again, this has been a wonderful broadcast. I appreciate doing the broadcast with you. And what we're going to do is we're going to come back next week on something new. But this is our music to get off. But again, I hope someone has learned something today about the elderly and the right attitude. And I hope somebody has changed. Hope their mindset, their focus has changed, because that's what it's going to take. The mindset has to change. You can't look at age and be fearful, because it's going to happen. And even when we start aging, do things that brings you joy. Okay. So,
Brother Ray says, right, do the chair exercise. Yeah, do what you can. Do whatever you can to help, like I said, prolong that life. That's what it's all about.
Okay, Chazz, so we're going to get out of here. We thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see you next week. And to all of you, we hope you just take care of yourselves. We don't just mean that literally, physically, mentally, internally, emotionally, psychologically. Take care of yourself, because we definitely want you to live as long as you're supposed to, and not let anything take you out of here before the time. So once again, we'll see you guys next week, and we're out of here, Chazz.
Take care, everybody.